कैस्तुष्टुवांसस्तनूभिः विषेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। हरि ओम, salutations to all. So, mantra number 14. The lower Arani was explained that consciousness has become the Jiva as though because of the Maya Shakti, and forgetting one's true nature, this consciousness which is unborn appears as though it's a Jiva who is born and goes through this waking dream deep sleep and is caught in this cycle of birth and death. So it was said, Puratraye Kridati Yascha Jivaha. One who plays in these cities, the three cities. Pura means city. Our body is called as a Pura. In the Gita also it comes, in the Kathopanishad it comes. Navadvare Pure Dehi Naiva Kurvanna Karayan. Just like a city has multiple entry and exit points, they are called the gates. This body also has 9 gates. 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth, 2 ears. These are 7. Evacuation, reproduction organs, 9 gates. So the stimulus we take and the responses we give all happens through these 9 gates. Just like the city, in the city there is a king. In the same way, this city of this body, the king is who? The Atma. Now this Atma is infinite, but it has forgotten. So this Atma thinks itself now as a Jiva. Now this Jiva is going through this waking dream deep sleep. Puratraye Kridati. This is the symbolism of the Tripurasura Vadha by Lord Shiva, where these Tripurasuras, they had got a boon from Brahmaji that they can be killed. So they wanted to become immortal. Brahmaji said, I cannot make you immortal. That which is born has to die. So then they asked a boon which said, one of them will be in a golden city, one of them will be in the silver city, one of them will be in the copper city. Means the cities, these are 3 different cities, golden, silver, copper. And they will be, each of them have their own Pura, so each of them are roaming around in this creation, in their city. And as a city, there are lots of, various beings and creatures and everything in each loka. So there are 3 of them. And they said that we can be destroyed only by Lord Shiva. And when we align all the 3 at the same time, then we can be killed. And they were sure they will not be killed by Lord Shiva because they were devotees of Lord Shiva. But then of course power comes, and then with that power comes many other challenges, and then they lose the focus, and Devatas, they request Shivji. So for 1,000 years Shivji waits in a chariot. Vishnu Bhagwan Brahmaji becomes the charioteer of that. Vishnu Bhagwan becomes the arrow. And the Shiva Dhanush, Bhagwan has Pinaki, the name of the Dhanush. Pinaka is the name of the Dhanush. So he is called Pinaki. And these Devatas, the sun and the moon, become the wheels of the chariot. Nice, beautiful description of the chariot is there. And Shivji is waiting, holding his bow and arrow for 1,000 years. For the right moment when all the three will align, then he shoots. Tripurasuras are dead. Now this is Puranic story. Shiv Puran has, many other Puranas have. But the symbolism is this: waking, dream, deep sleep. One has to destroy the three egos: waker, dreamer, deep sleeper. How? Through steady contemplation. So Vishnu is the arrow, right? So Vishnu means the all-pervasive consciousness, the supreme reality. Steady contemplation on that all-pervading infinite reality, when we do, then body, mind, intellect has to align. If body is in one place, mind is in one place, intellect is in another place, then dhyan cannot happen. So body, mind, intellect, when they align, the steady contemplation will destroy the waker, dreamer, deep sleeper identification. One will realize, I am Shiva, I am pure consciousness. Symbolism of Puratraya and Tripurasura Vadha is that. So this Jiva is going through these three: waking, dream, deep sleep. Now here it is said, Tatastu Jatam Sakalam Vichitram. It is from this Jiva that this entire world of plurality has come out. As I said in the earlier class, the Jiva does not mean the individual. From the individual, the whole multiple creation came out. This Jiva who has forgotten that I am consciousness. So from consciousness only the whole thing has come. Like the waker's mind, the entire dream world has come from the waker's mind. That dream character is not different from the waker's mind. One character in the dream thinks that I am this Mr. So-and-so. That is waker's mind only. So if the dream character asks, from whom did this whole dream world come? What one will say? From you as the waker it came. But you have forgotten you are the waker. So now you are asking from who? Somebody else created this world. No. You only created as the consciousness. So tatastu jatam sakalam vichitram. Now what is that consciousness? That Appararani is indicated with these words. Adharam, it is the substratum. So this whole world, the basis of this whole world is the pure consciousness. Today what quantum physics also speaks about that. Traditional physics says it is matter. The whole world is made from matter. The basis of the world is matter. Quantum physics says no, it is consciousness. Without consciousness, this world will not exist. And the quantum physicists are saying the same thing that the Upanishad is saying. That this entire universe is a projection of the consciousness. That consciousness is our true nature. That is what is not yet realized by them. But otherwise the same thing. Tatastu jatam sakalam vichitram. Consciousness is only appearing as all this. And they are very clear. Consciousness is not creating. It is only appearing. It is not real. That is the development of thought in quantum physics. So tatastu jatam sakalam vichitram adharam. So the adhar of this world is the consciousness. What is the meaning of adhar? You know, simple meaning of adhar is support. But here in this context, adhar means the substratum which supports the superimposition. Like the rope is the adhar for the snake. The waker is the adhar for the dreamer. What is that which is supporting the superimposition? Is this substratum. And what does that mean? Can the superimposition ever affect the substratum? Yes or no? No? Can the snake affect the rope? Does the rope become poisonous after the snake vision disappears? Superimposition can never affect the substratum because superimposition is unreal. Same way, this consciousness is a substratum. This jiva is what? Superimposition. This jagat is what? Superimposition. Ishvara is what? Superimposition. Consciousness is free from all that. Adharam. If you see Gurudev, what he has said, he has taken the word adhara as the cause. In all ornaments, gold is the substratum. Of all the waves, the ocean is the substratum. In all the mud pots, mud, the cause is ever present. And their shapes, colors, efficiencies, names are all possible only when the support of the pots, the mud exists. The substratum is the cause and the support. Substratum is the cause and the support. So what supports this whole universe is consciousness. Adharam. What is the meaning of Adhar? Without this Adhar, that thing will not exist. Like without the mud, the pot will not exist. Without the rope, snake will not exist. So if there is a effect, there has to be the cause. If this whole world is being seen, there is an Adhar for this world. In Bhakti Shastra, we say that when we take refuge of that Adhar of Bhagwan, that is called Ashray. Take refuge of the Adhar is Ashray. Take the refuge of that Supreme Lord who is the cause of this whole world. Then the Jiva Bhav goes. So taking refuge of the Adhar is Bhakti Marg. Here also in Jnana Marg we take refuge of the Adhar only. We stop thinking I am the superimposition. We start thinking I am that substratum. The cause of the whole universe is me. Till now I was thinking I am the Jiva born in the world. And so we celebrate the birthday also. I am 20 years old. I am 40 years old. I am 30 years old. Why? That's an assertion. I am a jiva who is born into this world. So I am going to be perishing. I am going to die. But what is Upanishad saying? No, you are not born into the world. The world is born into you. Who is that you? This. See, when it is said that the world is born in me, we generally misunderstand that me to be this PFT. Then we wonder, how did it come from me? I am so created. How can it come from me? No, it didn't come from me as a jiva. It came from me as consciousness. I am the one in which the world is born, in which it stays, into which it goes back. Yasmin layam yati. All the three, waking, dream, deep sleep, go back into it. And waking, dream, deep sleep also come out of that state. When a person experiences samadhi avastha, waking, dream, deep sleep, one has transcended. All the three fold into that. Again one comes out of that samadhi avastha, again from there only waking, dream, deep sleep comes back. The substratum means what? The superimposition rises in the substratum, is supported by the substratum, it goes back into the substratum, and yet in and through this whole process, substratum is never affected. I am that substratum, is what is said. So, that is the meaning here, Adharam. Then, Anandam. It is of the nature of absolute bliss. No other cause for it exists. All other joys, what we have seen earlier, pleasure, joy, emotional gratification, happiness, there is a cause for it. So it comes and goes. So pleasure will be there with the sense objects. First gulab jambu, pleasure. 10th gulab jambu, pain. No, Swamiji, my capacity is 50. Okay, very good. After 50. So pleasure and pain, pair of opposites. Born out of sense contact. Joy and sorrow, born out of emotional contact. Sunday I will return, I will reunite with my family. What a joy, how amazing. Joy. Family may think, arey sorrow aa gaya. 7 days this person was away, I was in bliss. Now again sorrow has come. कुछ हुआ आपको? You are standing? You are all right, no? Okay. So, pleasure, pain, happiness, sorrow. I'm joking, okay? Don't think that I think you are all troublemakers. I am just joking. नहीं तो यहाँ पे शौर हो जाएगा कि ये स्वामी क्या सोचता है हमारे बारे में. Then you will experience this pair of opposite, no? Here and now, sorrow. So joy, sorrow, they go together. Pleasure, pain go together. Happiness, unhappiness, born out of situation. COVID situation, we are unhappy. COVID goes, oh, very happy. They all need a cause, something. Ananda of Atma doesn't need any cause. It is of the nature of, because there is no duality there. And this Ananda is that which remains always. See, please remember this word Akhanda, no? You have to connect to Ananda also and Bodha also. Akhanda Anand and Akhanda Bodha, both. Our Ananda right now is Khanda Ananda. It is all broken. For a little while we have Rasgulla Anand. After some time we have some Pakoda Anand. After some time we have Nidra Anand. You know. After some time we have what? Travel Anand. So it comes, chota Anand, broken, Khanda. And we think that lots of this Khanda Anand put together will be Akhanda Anand. So maximum happiness, maximum objects, maximum enjoyment. But Akhanda Anand means that which is uncaused and which will never be broken, disturbed. Imagine what is that state. Swamiji, this state only is better. That seems very boring. Continuous bliss only. मजा चाहिए थोड़े समय के लिए. Not all the time. Variety is the spice of life, you know. We should have some anger, we should have some fear, we should have some excitement, we should have some life-threatening situation. Then मजा आता है. Always bliss means what? अखंड आनंद. Boring. सोच लो क्या चाहिए. अभी भी समय है, जा सकते हो वापस. खंड आनंद चाहिए तो उपनिषद की जरूरत नहीं है. अखंड आनंद you want, then Upanishad is required. No, Swamiji, lots of Khandanand also we want and Akhandanand also we want. Double we want. Is it possible to experience both? At the same time, the mind can focus only on one. If I am attached to Khandanand, then mind is extroverted, so I forget Akhandanand. If I experience Akhandanand, this Khandanand is gone. This state does not exist there. If you say, I want to enjoy the Faluda of the dream as well as the pizza of the waking at the same time, is it possible? Not possible at all. That's a limited example. I'm not saying pizza is equal to Akhandanand, but just the two different states of being. So logically we understand this, but think about it emotionally. Are we not wanting both together? Why people say that why do I have to leave everything? Can I not realize the truth without leaving everything? What is the meaning of that? Khandanand, Akhandanand, I want together. That's what it means technically. I don't want to leave anything. So Khandanand I want. And so logic for that they will apply again. There is no problem in all this, Swamiji. We can enjoy, but we should not just get attached to it. That's all, no? Okay, so we will have Khandanand also, but we are seekers of Akhandanand. That will not happen. Either one only. And Upanishads are saying, I am not saying. Upanishad says very clearly, there are two paths. One is the path of light, one is the path of darkness. The path of light is the path of knowledge. Path of darkness will take me down. I can't have a combination of light and darkness path. There is no such path. So, Anandam. What does this mean? Every time the mind brings up some craving, oh, I feel incomplete without this. What should I tell myself? My nature is Akhandanand. If it is there, fine. If it is not there, why should I feel anything is missing? Nothing is missing, ever. Whatever we need, karma will bring. Whatever we don't have is not there in our karma. Very simple. So, Akhandananda. Akhandananda is the nature of that Supreme. Akhanda Bodham. Pure knowledge, not knowledge of something. We in the world, through the mind, get knowledge of other things. If the mind is not there, can we gain knowledge? By mind, I mean both, mind and intellect. In absence of the mind and intellect, can we gain knowledge of this? We can't get. Even if the object is in front of us, still if the mind is not backing the senses, we won't get the knowledge. Like right now it may be happening. Sound is falling in the ears. But recognition may not happen. Sound is falling. Ear's job it is, so sound is falling. But if the mind is not here, then no knowledge will rise. So we get the knowledge of everything through the mind. But that knowledge which enlivens the mind is Akhanda Bodha. And can this Akhanda Bodha be realized with the mind by itself? It cannot be realized with the mind like how we get the knowledge of other objects. That's why it was said Achintyam. Then how it will be? By contemplating that I am not this, I am that. Then this Akhanda Bodha rises. This Akhanda Bodha is again not like the knowledge and ignorance pair of opposite. Like the bliss, Akhandananda is not pair of opposite. Like there is pleasure and pain, joy and sorrow, happiness, unhappiness. There is no opposite for bliss. In Vedanta I am talking. Now don't come and tell me English grammar, bliss ka opposite bhi hai. That word may be there. But the state, there is no opposing state of bliss. Same way there is no opposing state of this Akhanda Bodha. There is one consciousness that is. What does that mean? That which is Akhanda Bodha, constantly of the nature of pure consciousness, illumination, can it fall into bondage? Yes or no? Is there darkness for the sun? Why is there no darkness for the sun? It is of the nature of light. Continuously it goes on illumining. There was one court case on the Surya Devata. It was put by this Andhakar. And this Andhakar had complained that this Surya Devata is not giving proper light. Many parts of this earth are, in darkness. So that's, in court they call, who is that, Darban, they call that, whatever the name. They call, this person Hazir Ho. So they called Surya Devata Hazir Ho. So Surya Devata came. Then the judge said, there is a petition against you by this Andhakar. Surya Devata said, where is Andhakar? Andhakar only is not there. Petition dismissed. Andhakar disappeared. Surya Devata came, no Andhakar. Gone. There is no darkness for Surya Devata. What does that mean? My nature is infinite consciousness. How can I be an ignorant jiva? Bandhan is a mithya only. Bandhan is not real. If bandhan is not real, then mukti also is not real. What are you saying, Swamiji? इतना दिन से हम कैवल्य उपनिषद पढ़ रहे हैं. बंधन इज नॉट रियल. पहले दिन बोल देना चाहिए था. इतना मगजमारी क्यों किया? Bandhan is not real. It is a fact. How can that infinite consciousness ever become ignorant? Not possible. But that which makes the impossible possible is the power of Maya. It's an appearance, it is not real. The infinite is appearing as finite and the Jnana Swarup is appearing as Ajnani. That's why Ramana Maharshi used to say that if somebody says, I don't know the self, Maharshi used to say, who is that I? Enquire. Who does not know the self? Enquire. That I don't know itself is an illusion. There is nothing called I don't know. Only I is all the time. This consciousness illumines ignorance of the mind and intellect and knowledge of the mind and intellect, but consciousness is beyond both. That's why it is called Akhanda Bodha. So our meditation from a higher standpoint in Vedanta is not that I am bound and I am meditating to become liberated. What is the meditation? I am liberated. I am Jnana Swarup. I am Sat, Chit, Anand. Mukti in Vedanta is not mukti from bandhan. Mukti in Vedanta is to realize that I am ever Nitya Mukta. I am never bound. That is the mukti. So, Adharam Anandam Akhanda Bodham Yasmin Layam Yati Puratrayam Cha, in which these three states they dissolve and from this only they come back. So that consciousness is our true nature. This Atma, self in us, illumines the waking dream, deep sleep. From Atma, waking dream, deep sleep come into Atma, waking dream, deep sleep as though go back. And Brahman is that from where this creation comes, in which it stays, into which it goes back. So as far as the jiva is concerned, the origin, the sustenance and the dissolution of the jiva is in the self. As far as the jagat is concerned, it is in the substratum of the jagat, which is Brahman. Now, one more is the connection. What I just said, Brahman. This 14th verse, last two lines are the Apararani, which spoke about the Atma. The self is the one which is the substratum for waking dream and deep sleep. Now that same self is pointed out as Brahman. What is Brahman? The substratum of the whole world. So now you see here, 15th mantra. Etasmat jayate pranaha manas sarvendriyani cha kham vayur jyotirapaha prithivi vishvasya dharini. Etasmat, from this. What from this? From this self only. What is born? Jayate pranaha. The prana, the vital energy, is born. Manaha, the mind, and sarvendriyani, the senses. So from this consciousness comes the individual jiva and the subtle body, and by implication gross body, etc. And from this only comes all the five elements indicating the world. Kham means space, Vayu, air, Jyoti, fire, Apaha, water, Prithvi, earth. And it comes in this order only. Space, air, fire, water, earth. In this order the elements manifest. Vishwasya Dharini. The earth is called Vishwasya Dharini, the upholder of the whole world. So in this mantra, actually, the oneness of Atma and Brahma is already indicated. Explicitly, it may not be using the words Atma and Brahman, but first line is to indicate Atma, second line is to indicate Brahman only. And both are same actually. So the Appararani as consciousness is indicated in this 15th mantra. That consciousness is enlivener of individual equipment as well as the whole world. From where did space, air, fire, water come? It came from the world. Came from the Brahman, consciousness. And it's very interesting. How do we know that these elements came in this order? Is it possible for us to experience the creation of these elements? Yes or no? Can we experience that from space comes air, from air comes fire, from fire comes water? Can we experience that? Samashti space, from that space came air, then came fire, then came water, then came earth. Can you and I experience that? It is not possible because until these don't come, this body is only not made. So how will we experience that? Space, air, fire, water, earth. Their evolution from each other, how will we experience? We cannot experience. They are cause of our body is correct. But my question is, can we experience this? When we have body also, we can't experience the totalities, space evolving from there, air evolving from there, fire evolving from air. We can't see that. Because they are already created. Then only our body is created. So we cannot directly experience this, but we can indirectly infer this. How? Just before this class, the earlier class, all of you were sitting happily here. Then it was like space. Then you walked, and then you took the lift. Then you went up. And especially with this orange gown, all of you must be waiting. कब आएगा संडे ये ऑरेंज गाउन से मुक्ति मिले बाबा, क्या है ये, इतना गर्मी है और पकड़ा दिया ये स्वामी जी ने हमको. So when you move and you reach up, what happens? You are sweating, no? So when you are sitting here, you are like space. Then when you move, that is air. Then when that movement will generate heat, that is fire. That heat will make the sweat happen, that is water. And suppose you want to conserve water and you don't want to take bath for next few days. You say, अब मैं सीधा गंगा स्नान करूंगी अपने घर में जाके. Then what will happen? Earth will accumulate here. So indirectly you can infer, no? From space came air, from air came fire, from fire water, from water earth. What is the meaning of this? Brahman, from there came all this. Now did it really come? The word used is jayate. Jayate means born. Is space really born from consciousness? Or space is really created from consciousness? Yes or no? It was not there. Is space the nature of consciousness for it to be there? Yes or no? So how it will be there? A nature of a thing is that which will always be with the thing. So if we say, was the space not already there in consciousness, that means we are saying nature of consciousness is space. But space is not the nature of consciousness. So did consciousness create space? Is space really born from consciousness is my question. So how many say yes? Nobody is saying yes. Are mantra is saying etasmat jayate pranaha. You are saying, is space born from consciousness or not? So it is born now. Now one person started first, now two. Now we have two supporters of this. From consciousness came space. Anybody wants to change their mind? Think about it. Upanishad Praman you have. Etasmat jayate prana is said here. From this is born space. My question is simple. Is space born from consciousness? Answer is right in front of you. It is not. So somebody else is the cause of this space. Space is supporting consciousness, okay. Space was not created by consciousness, then something else created space. Yes? What is that something else then? Tell me. Who? We have created. So are we different from consciousness? Consciousness only created. So then space is born from consciousness. No, then that's what you are saying. If consciousness created it. क्यों इतने सब कंफ्यूज हो गए हो? चलेगा. If it is I also, did I create space? Did space come from this I? That is a question. Wait. So Brahman using power of Maya becomes Ishvara and then creates. So creation is there. Space is created from consciousness, no? Process is what you explained now, but the answer is yes or no. Space created from consciousness or not? Space is born from consciousness or not? अरे डिसाइड करो भाई. पहले सबने ना किया था, फिर एक ने हाँ बोला, फिर दूसरे ने हाँ बोला, फिर तीसरे ने हाँ बोला, फिर चौथे ने हाँ बोला. अब धीरे धीरे सब हाँ बोल रहे. हाँ कि ना? अब एक साथ डिसाइड करो. नाउ टेल हाउ मेनी आर सेइंग यस. Okay, how many are saying no? How many are neither yes nor no? That is not allowed in Vedanta actually. Either this or that. See, the word jayate is given here, but we have to understand that space does not create. Because what is the meaning of creation? Creation means what was not there now comes into being. And so that means a modification, a change. Can consciousness change? No. So consciousness didn't create space. Then is something else creating space? Is there anything else apart from consciousness to create space? No. There cannot be any other cause. And yet space is there. So, without undergoing any change, what appears as this space? That is the relationship between space and consciousness. Without undergoing any modification, the waker appears as the dream creator, and the dream creator projects the whole world. Did the waker actually create the dream world? Waker is appearing as the dream world, the dreamer and the dream characters. It's not real creation. It's an appearance. Correct. Space is inert, consciousness is sentient. So sentient can definitely appear as the inert. There is no problem. Inert cannot produce sentiency. Sentient can appear as inert. There is no issue with that. Why? Because to manifest sentiency, mind is required. It's only an absence of equipment. Subtle body is not there in space, so we call it inert. Like this mic, this is inert. It is inert because there is no subtle body in this mic. The same thing happens to the body, no physical body. Why do we call the body a dead body? In a dead body, what is absent? Consciousness is still there. But sentiency is not expressing. Why? Because this mind and intellect is gone. So it is dead body. So inert can appear as sentient, can appear as the inert. There is no problem. Both inert and sentient are appearances only, no? In this creation, there are inert and sentient. So we jivas are sentient, and these things are inert. The source of both these is what? Consciousness only. One consciousness appears as Jada and Chetan. Appearance happens and goes back. That's what we saw earlier, that from this, the three puras rise and they go back. Same way, what happens in the jiva, the waking dream, deep sleep rise from the Atma, go back into Atma. Apply to Brahman, creation appears in Brahman, goes back in Brahman. So it is not always there.
Consciousness is the prime factor.
Consciousness is the prime factor. Appearance comes and goes. Rope is not always having snake. No? If rope always has snake, then rope becomes the snake. The rope is equal to snake. Appearance of snake can happen or not. Come now and then it will come. But what is there at all times? The rope. Consciousness is at all times. Creation happens and goes back. That's why it's an appearance. It is not real. The snake is appearance. The inner rope is giving rise to the sentient snake. It's an appearance only.
So space is not created by consciousness.
Not at all created. It's an appearance of consciousness. Created means in time and modification. Creation means from the cause you create an effect. So pot can be created. Pot was dormant in the mud, then the mud was utilized by the potter using the wheel, then this pot got created. So creation has a cause and effect relationship, and it is the modification of the cause to become the effect that is called creation. In appearance, without undergoing any change, the substratum appears as a superimposition. There is no real creation. Without undergoing any change, the rope appears as the snake. So the rope did not create the snake. The rope appears as the snake. So our cultures does not say that world was created by God. God did not create the world. God appears as the world. So the beauty of this is the appearance is illusory, but what is appearing is real. Consciousness is illusory, but what is appearing as this consciousness is real, but the five elements which are appearing, they are illusory. The snake is illusory. The rope only is real. And the rope cannot, the snake cannot exist without the rope. But did the rope produce the snake, or did the rope appear as the snake? It only appears. Did the rope modify to become the snake? No. There was no change.
Because of the perception that was.
Correct.
So Jayate here means appears.
Appearance. Jayate here only means appears. It does not mean real creation.
So Swami also say that consciousness creates an illusion of state. Is that the same thing as appears as?
So if you say creates an illusion of space, then you are attributing karta bhav to consciousness. By itself, consciousness doesn't do anything. So you can only say it appears as the five elements and this whole creation, because this explanation is from whose standpoint? From our standpoint. From consciousness standpoint, none of this exists only. From Maker's standpoint, there is nothing, no dream world and no dream creator, no dream characters, nothing is there. He is only lying on the bed. But the dream character inside the dream has forgotten that I am the waker. So now for the dream character, to make that person realize that you are the waker, you are not this. Then it is said, there is a waker, on that waker, this entire thing world is an appearance, and you are that waker, you are not this. So contemplate on that waker. So it's an appearance from our standpoint. So from Jiva standpoint, we say consciousness is the cause, but what is the nature of that cause? It is the substratum. It is only the substratum which is appearing as a superimposition. It is not that it is the cause which is creating the effect. The consciousness is not the cause which is creating the world. It is an appearance.
So all the five elements are the appearance of the consciousness.
They are only appearances of consciousness. And what does that mean when it is an appearance? It means it is not real. Which means that if we turn our attention to consciousness, this entire thing will disappear. If I see the rope clearly, what happens to the snake? No snake. One can't say, Swamiji, I have done great sadhana. 30% of rope realized, 70% of snake remained. In another 20 months, all 70% of the snake will disappear and 100% rope I will realize. A glimpse of that rope is enough to make that entire snake disappear. There is not real at all. When you see the rope, the whole thing is rope. So that is the meaning here, that it is not really born. If you want to know in Sanskrit, Swasvarupa aparityagena rupantara apatti. That is the definition of appearance. Swasvarupa aparityagena, without leaving its own nature, without going through any modification. Swasvarupa aparityagena rupantara apatti. It will appear as something else. The rope does not leave its nature, but it appears as a snake.
Can you explain that?
Swasvarupa aparityagena, it appears as something else. Swasvarupa aparityagena rupantara apatti. The heights at which all these Upanishads go, which other scriptures in the world will come to these heights? Think about this. The world is not there only. World is an illusion, is this level itself is difficult to understand. If one goes one level higher, it says the world never got created. Consciousness alone is that the supreme reality, nothing else exists. Nothing else means nothing else. Who understands all that? So this is the upper earning. What is the nature of that consciousness? Without going through any change, it becomes the substratum. It is appearing as a substratum of the whole world. The beauty is, if I see the substratum, it should remind, if I see the superimposition, it should remind me of the substratum. The moment I know something is illusory, that illusion must make me seek the truth or not. Suppose I go to see a magic show and I see the magic. Some people will definitely be interested in, I want to know how this happened. Because we know it is not real. So we want to know how it happened. What is the trick? This magician is having some trick. If a seasoned traveler in the desert sees the mirage, will that person run behind the mirage to drink water? Or will the person say, I want to know what is there? It is appearing as a mirage. If I think that water is real, then I will run behind it. But if I know it's illusory, I will stop running behind that water. I will try to know what is appearing as water, because that is real. Water appearing mirage is not real, but the sand is real. So if I am seeing this whole creation, it is not real. So two things must happen. I must stop running behind the world. And the jignasa to know what is the substratum of this world should arise. That's the implication of understanding world is illusory. It is not some intellectual idea. It is connected to the feeling. How? Because if I understand something as illusory, I stop getting affected by it. I stop running behind it. Then I will want to know what is real. What is appearing as illusion is illusory. But what is appearing, the substratum is real. What is that? Movies people see. And some people will get so identified with that character that they will cry with the character, laugh with the character, everything with the character. Because identified fully. So it's very real to them. So when anything is very real to us, we go through all the experiences because of identification. But when we know it's illusory, we stop getting affected. Somebody else sitting in the theater next to that person says, "What a fool! Why are you crying, Baba?" No, this person died. No, my favorite hero died. Okay, take the ticket, come and see the next show. Again, he will be alive. No, but in the movie, he died. No, but he died. So sad. I feel very sad. I can't get over it. I can't get over it. अरे मर गया वापस जिंदा हो गया. Full identification. Because for that person it's very real. The person who is sitting detached is so Jivan Mudra is sitting like that. Absolutely unaffected by the world. So if as sadhaks we have to think about the implication of this. The world is illusory. What is the implication? We stop getting affected by the world. We stop giving reality to the world. Stop chasing the world. And then what should we do? If my attention is not on this, then only it is available for this. No? That's why Vivek Vairagya is required. If I continue to have attachments in the world, I can never realize this world is illusory. So why I should drop attachments? Because if I want to realize this is illusory, the only way is drop attachments. Because attachment comes from the notion this is real. And because it is real, I want happiness from that. So I run behind it. Does anybody who has grown up get very thrilled if you are gifted a huge teddy bear? Will you run to hug the teddy bear and hey God, teddy bear, so happy, so excited, so thrilled? Why? Because you know that there is no joy in that. Do you have a hatred against that teddy bear? I hate this teddy bear. I don't like this teddy bear. No hatred. Do you have a craving for the teddy bear? No craving. That healthy state is called Vairagya. People think Vairagya means a disinterested state, completely pessimistic in mind, and will not enjoy life. If you give Rasgulla, they'll say, what Rasgulla? This is 5 elements. There is no rasa in it. And one will put it, just eat it somehow, or will reject it. No, it's not like that. There is no craving, there is no aversion from the world. That steady mind will contemplate. No running behind, no running away from. First day when we did the inauguration session, I have given one quote from the Gita. That is this. Neya Savitya Samyasi Yona Dveshti Akamshati. So that's the meaning of this. It is only an appearance, it is not real. Now 12 to 14 gave us the lower army, which is Tvampada. This 14 to 15 gave us the upper army, which is the Tatpada. Now this 16th one is the oneness. Already as I said in 15 the oneness is indicated. But if somebody didn't get it, then Upanishad exclusively speaks about it in 16th mantra. Yat param brahma sarvatma Vishwasyayatanam mahat Sushmat Sushmataram Nityam Tattvameva Tvameva Tat. Yat Param, that which is supreme, Brahma, which is absolute consciousness. Param means there is nothing greater than this consciousness. Desha Kala Vastu Aparichinna is Param and Brahma, both, beyond limitation of time, space and objects. And where is that Brahman? Not somewhere up there, Sarvatma, in the hearts of all, not only in my heart. The seeker cannot say, I am Brahman, you all are Brahman. Sarvatma, the self in me is the self in all. And it is that self, is it one small little thing inside my heart? No, Vishwasya Ayatanam Mahat. It is the same substratum of the whole world. The self in me is the self in all the beings, is the substratum of the entire creation. Vishwasya Ayatanam Mahat. Sukshmat Sukshmataram. It is subtler than the subtlest. When we say subtle, people think it is one small little thing like atom, proton, neutron, electron, string, quarks. Subtle. It is pervading that also because it exists. But here what it means, subtle means that which is more pervasive and which has less qualities is subtle. Subtleness is measured by pervasiveness. Two factors for measuring subtlety: pervasiveness and qualities. The lesser are the qualities in a thing, more is the pervasiveness in that thing, more subtler is that thing. I'll give an example. Earth is the grossest of 5 elements. So earth has 5 properties. You can see, hear, taste, smell, touch the earth. The pervasiveness of the earth is limited compared to the pervasiveness of the air or space. Can you see space? Can you hear space? Can you touch space? Can you smell space? Not possible. It has no properties and so maximum pervasiveness. So subtler than earth is water, subtler than water is fire, subtler than fire is air, subtler than air is space. Subtler than space is what?
Consciousness.
तो जंप कर लिया सीधा फाइनल आंसर पे, बीच का स्टेप थोड़ा दिया, तो पहले अर्थ से ही जंप करते थे. What is subtler than space? अरे नहीं बाबा, ये तो है आंसर फाइनल, आंसर इन बिटवीन. Mind. Subtler than space is the mind. Why? Because only when mind is active, space is experienced. In deep sleep, is space there? Not there. Time and space function only in the realm of mind. What is subtler than the mind? So mind and intellect being the same in this context, that only when mind and intellect function, then we experience space. If they don't function, we don't experience space. If you want to distinguish between mind and intellect separately, then mind is functioning in the realm of the known, intellect functions in the realm of unknown. So subtler than mind is intellect. So intellect, when it is active, mind and intellect when they are active, then space is experienced. So subtler than mind is space. What element is this mind and intellect? Consciousness. So it is the subtlest. Subtler than the subtlest means, as I said, lesser properties, more pervasiveness. So this consciousness has no properties. So maximum pervasiveness. Everywhere it is there. What does it mean? That which is the ultimate cause pervades the effect or not. If the mud is the cause, pot is the effect, then mud will pervade the pot. So if earth is the effect and this water is the cause, then water is there in earth, inherent in that earth. Same way you trace back, what does this logic mean? Consciousness is inherent in everything. Sukshma Sukshmataram is subtlest, and Vishwasya Ayatanam. It is the substratum of the whole world. Vishwasya Ayatanam Mahat. Sukshma Sukshmataram Nityam. It is eternal. See, please remember one meaning of the word Nityam. When we say Nityam, it does not mean that which does not change in 3 periods of time. That is one understanding of Nityam. But this word Nityam means that which is never changing at all. That is called Nityam. Unchanging is called Nityam. Otherwise, we say what was in the past, what is in the present, what is in the future. That is called Nityam. That which is timeless is actually called Nityam. It does not change. That is called Nityam. Sukshma Sukshmataram Nityam. Now comes the Mahavakya. Tat Tvam Eva Tat. That alone you are. Tat Tvam Eva. That alone you are. And Tvam Eva Tat. And you are that alone. What is the difference, Swamiji? There is no difference. That is the point. It is only emphasized 2 times. So, from the standpoint of Ishvara, that Brahman, you are that Tat Tvam Eva. And from the standpoint of Jiva, that you are. Meaning there is no difference between Jiva and Ishvara. There is absolute oneness. Complete oneness is indicated by Tat Tvam Eva Tat. And please remember, this oneness is explicitly mentioned here. Otherwise, it has been indicated before also. In the lower Arani also, it was said Adharam Anandam Akhanda Bodham. And in this upper Arani also, it is said Etasma Jayate Prana. Sorry, Kham Mano Vayu, Kham Vayu Jyotirapa Prithvi Vishwasya Dharini. Brahman is indicated in that. So it is already indicated. Tattvameva Tvameva Tat is just bringing it all together and saying you are that alone. Eva means that alone. You are not. Even a little bit of Jiva you are not. Not only 8% Jiva to anything. 99% I am Brahman, but 1% is little Jiva should be there. No. Absolute oneness where there is no difference. What are the 3 types of differences? Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata. No differences. No plurality at all. Of different species, and within the same species, different varieties, and within that one Jiva, different parts, no difference. Because even in that, there is a certain level of oneness. Like suppose we say Swagata Bheda. Now the hand is different, and the leg is different, and the head is different. Okay. But there is a oneness or not? What is the oneness? That there is a oneness that all these are a part of this body. So they are one with the body. Their functions may be different, but they are one with the body. So there is oneness in spite of duality. That is one type of oneness. Where in spite of duality, there is oneness. Other type of duality, other type of oneness is called part and whole oneness. So the wave is one with the whole ocean. Wave is a part, ocean is the whole. That is also one type of oneness. But what is Vedanta saying? It is not like that oneness in spite of duality. It is not like the oneness of part and the whole. It is absolute oneness where there is no duality at all. Where Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, all 3 disappear. Tat Tvameva means there is no Ishvara. Tvameva Tat means there is no Jiva. Then what remains? That is the state of consciousness. So for now I will stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।